Real quick, Chris Olin says the bit about being a monogamous Christian man was definitely a lie. No, it wasn't. When I said it, it was true. And then things changed and I stopped saying that. Although I'm still a Christian man, a very Christian man, and people have completely misrepresented things I've said about Christ or the Bible or whatever. I have no problems, and I've never had a problem in my 43 years of life. I've never had a problem of faith in Christ. I've had a problem of relying on Christians because I find Christians to be very unreliable over and over and over. But like as far as the when I said I was aggressively monogamous, which I thought was kind of like a funny line. No, it was though. And then later I wasn't. I made a different decision. I'm sorry. And was it a good decision? No, it ended up being terrible. It really fucked up my life. It made me almost lose my marriage. Don't do it. Monogamy is the way to go. Like there may be people who can make something beyond monogamy work. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they would. I wanted to eat a bullet every day for a while, dealing with more than, oh my God, it's a mess. But it wasn't that like I wasn't like when I said it again, it was 100% true. And then later it wasn't true. And so I stopped saying it. But people are like, oh, you should have told people. I'm like, why? Why do I have to then go out and be like, by the way, guys, I've updated my view on this. That's a weird thing to do too. And for people to expect you to do that when you make a decision that like runs different than what you've said in the past is an impossible thing. Cause you like, don't, one, I didn't even like know that's what was going on for a bit. And then like all of a sudden I found myself in a situation that was like way different than anything I planned. And things seemed great. And then they weren't. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I was right originally. But like people get mad about that. It's like, well, that's only if I was lying at the time, but I wasn't. I just changed my mind. Or I didn't even change my mind. I made a decision contrary to my values and I got fucked for it, man. Like, what do you want? Like, you all were right. So was I. It was great.
I had a creator yell at me because I said, they said that they were like, he lied about being a, monogamous and a Christian and blah, blah, blah. And I said like jokingly, also, there's a little truth to it where I was like, I think it's cool he's smashing all these bitches. I'd say that's cool. I'm not a like Christian. Yeah, I like that. I think it's
look. I had a creator. Times involved.
I had a big creator yelling at me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "That's not who I am, man. I don't. I'm all about some hot bitches. I don't know what you want me to think."
Dude, that's actually kind of been the most surprising thing. I was like, man, I grew up in the 90s, and never in my life did I think that like doing drugs and sleeping with beautiful women was like uncool or a bad thing. Like I know that it could be against your particular morality. Like I got it, but people now are acting like it's some horrific thing. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like everything involved in my situation was consensual. And like, I didn't betray anyone or whatever, but it caused a lot of hurt. Like we might have been lying to ourselves about like how things were going. I know that Lady Raggets and I ended up in this place where we were lying to each other. We didn't trust each other. We were paranoid about our relationship and it almost broke us. Again, it's not a good thing, but at the same time, like that's because you can't take a 20-year marriage and then go, oh yeah, well, we're going to like do X, Y, and Z that is wildly different than the rest of your marriage. Other people can maybe make it work with a completely different setup than we had. But the reality is, one, you guys in the chat are ravenous assholes. And part of what you guys saw in me before any of this happened, and people started like calling it out. They just didn't know what it was. And I'm going to tell you, you can't, like as a person, you can't bring this shit to the internet. You just cannot. But what you saw in large part was me being really terrified that my marriage was breaking down. for a really long time, fighting against it, stopping doing things that were about me and trying to focus on doing things that were about us, but making the wrong decisions in doing so. And like, so people like are like, oh, you look terrible. And I tried to start telling you guys at the end, right before getting arrested, is like my mental health is fucking disaster. Despite anything else, like my mental health is really garbage. And that's because I thought my marriage was ending, guys. But you can't bring that to the internet. It's not your fucking business. And you guys are really shit at helping out with like a real situation like that. I'm sorry. And so like you try and deal with it on your own, but there's no hiding what it's doing to you. There's no hiding the fear, the anxiety, the apprehension, the pain you're going through when you're live streaming every day. But you got to keep live streaming every day because that's how you make your income and blah, blah, blah. And that's how you define yourself. Like, you know all about this. It's like, and so you're stuck in this catch 22 of like, if I stream, people will come at me on this. I can't really talk about this like openly. But again, now that like a bunch of this shit is out, this is what you guys were watching. And I'm sorry, like it really sucked. Believe me, for years it was fucking difficult. And I was scrambling dealing with something I never dealt with. And like trying to find someone who is really hard to find for some personal reasons that involve things that aren't your business either. But like we've been through a lot and we came out the other side of this. And Lady Raggets and I are doing great right now. It's like not every day's peachy, of course. It's still a marriage, right? But we don't fight like we used to. And we've made peace with so many things because we were both scared that the other one like was done. But neither of us were actually done. We were just scared the other one was. And we could finally communicate and trust each other. Like we were able to come back together, but man, it was tenuous for a bit.
Yeah, and people would ask me in chat because they obviously, you know, with your stature, people would super chat and be like, you know, how's Nick? Have you talked to him? And I'm like, you know, Nick's going through some shit. Like it's very apparent he's going through some shit. And you know, they just assume it's like all the stuff they're reading on Twitter. And I'm like, no, it's like he's going through some shit, man, right now. So, you know, that's why I don't bother him. I know you like you can't just reach out to somebody and be like, dude, like you want to talk, because that doesn't work. Because
and frankly, like a couple people have been just great. Like you've been very genuine in whatever through all of this and just been there. But like some people were like, and they're trying to be nice, but they're like, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm like, all I want to do is drink a gallon of liquor, and the government told me I can't. Like, because you want to die, like you want to be done. Yeah. When I say a gallon of liquor, like literally that's what you're like, oh, if I just do this, I won't wake up tomorrow. And like the problems will be solved. The insurance will take care of everybody I care about. That's really shitty thinking, but man, that's kind of where you get. And I had to kind of just work through a whole bunch of shit because eventually I'll like find the right way to do this. And I have a good plan for it right now, but it's just a confluence of a whole bunch of stuff. And a lot of it's coincidence. And a lot of it's just the fact that some things had gotten really bad while other things are really good. But the people online, like, you don't want to go on and just bitch at people all day. Like, oh, my life sucks. Like, when you do that like one time, that's great. When you start doing it every day or whatever, people don't want to see that. Like, you want to bring good energy to a show. You want to bring positivity to people. And so like, I was no longer able to do that. I haven't been able to do that until like now. I'm starting to get there. And I apologize for anything that's like negative about the past. I'm really just blunt about it because it happened. It's done. What I'm working on going forward is, again, making a good show. Also, like going on other people's shows and making fun of a fat retard.